Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. An absolute, well, I guess this is a classic at this point. I have to start off with this. This is my favorite book in the series by, I wouldn't say quite some distance because The Prisoner of Azkaban is a close second. What she did in that book was just fantastic. But The Order of the Phoenix is underrated and is a gem. The mental health depiction, the growing rebellion by the students and by the adults. So Dumbledore's Order plus Dumbledore's Order. Wow. Dumbledore's Army. Dumbledore's Army and the Order of the Phoenix. It's just crazy. I love, when it comes to any sort of, particularly fantasy books, but any sort of book that kind of depicts war or rebellion or revolution, what's always, I guess, low key, the greatest part of it is actually the brewing tension that leads up to the climax. And I don't know of many books that do it better than The Order of the Phoenix, mainly because of the dual aspect of it. Like I said, you got Dumbledore's Army and the Order of the Phoenix. Both are recruiting, both are underground, both are fighting against the return of Voldemort. There's a lot of heart in this book. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of struggle. I think they're about 15 at this point. And if you remember being 15, you kind of, the thing about being a teenager, especially at 15, is that you're getting more, you're seeing more of a glimpse into the adult world and just the adult themes that you're having to deal with. The PTSD, the friendships, just everything coming ahead, the secrets, everything comes ahead in this book, including the romance also, and the unrequited love, the jealousy, the misunderstanding, the miscommunication, the nerves, the angst. It's a fantastic, fantastic book. I don't think it's too long. I think the criticisms against this, like one, is too long, and that Harry's mental health, his PTSD, is a drawback in this book, are both false. This is great, and I think the soul and the heart comes from the Dumbledore's army scenes in the Room of Requirement, and even the initial sort of like sign up teaser session. Um, Magnificent. And then obviously Umbridge, one of the greatest villains ever, is in this, and is she depicts a British Karen, a magical British Karen, so beautifully. Just mm. So yeah, Order the Phoenix is goated. It is what it is. A Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin has claims to be the greatest book ever written. Like George R. R. Martin can literally pull up on every author that's wrote classics, from Dostoevsky to Jane Austen, Shakespeare, whoever it is you want to sort of pull up on in terms of literary greats. George R. R. Martin can literally sit at that table and be like, boom, I've written the greatest book of all time. A Storm of Swords has everything. Yes, it has the Red Wedding that we all know about, and that was executed to perfection. Like, if you still haven't read the books, you gotta read the books, because how the Red Wedding was on screen and how the fallout and the reactions from it is literally the same in this book, which just tells you just how high level George was writing on this one. Like, he was going off in this book. Everything comes ahead so beautifully in this book. The pacing is exquisite. The storylines, the redemption arcs, and like things are. Here's the thing about George that's so crazy is that he's able to churn out elite books while still not coming to a conclusion yet. If you understand what I'm saying, the ability to write exquisite books while still, when things are still in progress, while the character development is happening, while you don't have payoff for a lot of things yet. There's still so much mystery. There's still so much we're learning about the world and the subtle magic and the political alliances and the betrayals and the backstabbing and the war. There's still so much we're learning, and for that, so we're not getting answers, and it's crazy that it's kind of like Lost, the TV show. I mentioned it a few in a lot of my videos. It's my favorite TV show of all time. The fact that you can create so much anticipation and tension and just keep it at a high level with high pacing, with elite characters and elite writing is nuts. It's just nuts. So yeah, this Storm of Swords, you know what it is. There's a reason why Game of Thrones fans, A Song of Ice and Fire fans, continuously rank this as the best book in a series, and that's because it is. Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series, which of course, you knew about. And I always have this just slightly ahead of the first book, which is fantastic. Again, just like the Order of the Phoenix, the rebellion is brewing, and Suzanne Collins executes this beautifully. I prefer the way J.K. Rowling done it, but Suzanne still knocks it out of the park. And we're seeing all this through Katniss's eyes, and she's in a lot of trouble. She's in a shit ton of trouble after what she pulled in the Hunger Games, right? And not only is the capital sort of gunning for her and looking to, upset her and upstage her, her her second now Hunger Games, but the capital also has to sort of quiet down the growing discontent and rebellions in the other districts. Absolutely crazy book. So fast paced. I flew through this. This was an exceptional read. I reread it with well, I reread it with a book club I'm part of last year, and I just had to just keep on with the series. Fantastic. I still need to read the two new releases that have come out recently. I'll get to those. Definitely get to those. An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir surprised me. It surprised me a lot. This is recommended by a friend of mine who's also a book nerd like me. And what I love about this book, and I haven't continued with the series, which is weird because I read this nearly a year ago now, and I really need to fix up. But what surprised me is that this is quite a standard YA book. You've got your standard sort of like oppressor dynamic. You've got your sort of academic setting, academy setting. You've got a sort of history that sort of is needs to be reclaimed. There's a lot of sort of the normal tropes are in this book, but Sabaa Tahir sprinkles some magic. She sprinkles some beautiful, beautiful magic. I don't know what it was, just her own seasoning on this, and it just the flavor that it came out with, the end product was just absolutely fantastic. And so, even though it's going through the usual YA tropes, it's unique in its own right, and it stands above most YA books. This is, I don't know why this hasn't been made into some sort of film or series yet, to be honest. When did it come out? 2015. Definitely needs to hit the big screen. I can't wait to finish the series. And again, as well, I like the shadowy creatures in here and sort of the mystery behind them and everything. That always helps. That's always a pretty fun ride as well. So, and Ember in the Ashes, one of my all-time favorites. The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. Dark academia fantasy slaps. Like, it just doesn't. I was about to say it doesn't miss, but uh, we'll get to that in another video. But this book slaps, and the TikTok hype was more than justified. I absolutely thought this book was brilliant from the first page. The dynamics between the characters, the magic system, the way the world is in this book. and the secrets and everything. And the characters make this what it is because their interactions are absolutely golden. And so I have to respect Olivie Blake for this. The rest of the trilogy falls the hell off. Like, it is poor. I have a video coming up about the most disappointing books I've read, and the other two books in this series are on that list, which is crazy. So yeah, but the Atlas 6, loved it. The hype was justified. The characters again, and just I could like even look at that cover, that front cover. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah. On your screen is a playlist. It should be, it's either going to be a playlist or video. One of the two is on your screen. Click it. You'll definitely find what you like. Like and subscribe also. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.